I'm a big fan of Paul Joseph Watson. I've been interviewed by him twice, and I really like the guy. But just like any human being, sometimes he's just full of shit. Nobody can be 100% correct on everything all the time, and I feel like if you really respect someone, you should call them out when you think they're wrong. Because that's what you do when you consider someone to be an adult, reasonable human being. He starts the video off by making this great point about how overly medicated people are. A lot of doctors nowadays aren't being healers. They're dealers that are whoring for corporations. They're basically diagnosing kids with ADD just so they can sell them meth. This is a real issue, and I feel like there's an important point to be made here. But what Paul did was to take this genuine issue and spin it into a complete nonsense direction.
You've been completely misled about what depression actually is. Depression is nothing more than dissatisfaction with life. It's temporary unhappiness. But the dominant culture in the pharmaceutical industry figured out that it could control people and make tons of money by treating depression as a pathological disease. So now depression is not unhappiness, but a medical condition, which it's the responsibility of the doctor to alleviate by medical means. And they're only too happy to, often being paid to do so, under the insane justification that depression is a chemical imbalance, which it isn't.
So, I know that this is InfoWars.
Make sure to buy these boner pills to fight the globalists.
But this is just way too fucking crazy. You're saying that depression is a conspiracy created in order to make money and make people more easily controllable. Why would anyone go full retard like that?
I use Fluoride Shield every day.
There's a valid point to be made here about how doctors overdiagnose and overmedicate people. Partly due to greed, and partly because they just don't know any better, due to the status quo in their field. And this is a problem. That, however, doesn't mean that medication is always bad, that it never works, and that no medical diagnosis is valid. That's just an insane extreme to jump to. What you said is just objectively wrong. Current research suggests that depression is caused by a combination of genetic, biological, environmental, and psychological factors. Risk factors include family history of depression, major life changes, trauma, or stress.
We've been indoctrinated that everybody has a right to happiness. No, you don't. Happiness is earned by the way you live your life. If you make bad life choices, you become dissatisfied with life. You become depressed, and it's your fault.
So if someone gets raped and they feel bad because of that, it's their own fault? It's their own choice? What about if someone close to you dies and you get depressed because of that? That's your own fault too? I mean, this is basically the type of reasoning that New Age charlatans use. Your thoughts determine your reality. You choose how to relate to the events in your life. Thank you, come again. Yeah, but no. I mean, sometimes your only options for feedback are more pain, less pain, but still pain nonetheless. I mean, what Paul is basically telling you here is that if you were to catch your parents sucking dick for crack, then you're a pussy if you get negatively affected by it.
It's now a form of virtue signaling to constantly drone on about how depressed you are. You see it all over YouTube, these snivelling hug and confess videos made by privileged millennial brats who haven't had a proper day of hardship in their entire lives.
Yeah, you don't need to have experienced hardship in life in order to become depressed. That's why it's called an illness. In the same way that even people who lead a healthy lifestyle can suddenly catch cancer.
Your mood cannot be independent of the way you live your life.
Actually, it can. You basically just summed up depression there. Depression is when you got great friends, good family, nice job, you eat healthy, you regularly work out, and still your body is telling you that you need to die because everything is so worthless. Depression is essentially your own body constantly trying to kick your ass. Your mind and your emotions turn against you. Logic becomes irrelevant because it's like your entire system has been hijacked by a virus. If you can't understand this, then just don't fucking talk about it. Listen to those who have instead. Nobody can truly know what depression is until they've experienced it themselves. And you clearly haven't experienced what you're talking about, which you perfectly illustrate in this following clip.
You can't eliminate dissatisfaction with your life by taking pills. The only cure is to change the way you live your life, to make better decisions, to create value, excitement, and authenticity in your life. Work on projects, start businesses, read, absorb worthwhile information.
Someone who is depressed literally cannot see the point of a project. They don't have the inner energy to start up a business, and if you were to force them, you might just worsen things and send them into fatigue syndrome. Also, they could read a book, but it probably wouldn't affect them worthwhile emotionally, because that's how depression works. It's really problematic when people don't know the difference between actual clinical depression and feeling bummed out. If you're feeling low and gloomy, you can just jack off, smoke a blunt, and you're good to go again. If you're actually depressed, your dick doesn't work and you can't get out of bed. You can't even do simple basic chores, and everything that used to make you feel really good doesn't even faze you anymore. You're basically crippled emotionally and psychologically. Real depression doesn't go away just because you pick up a gym card and read a novel.
We're bathed in a culture that glorifies and fetishizes depression.
No, we're not. And the fact that there is a stigma just proves you wrong.
Depression was barely even a thing. It wasn't even talked about 50 or 60 years ago. So why is everyone so depressed now when we've got it so much easier?
Have you ever been to a fucking psych ward, dude? Like, have you been locked up, or do you know anyone who has? Because it's not very nice. And it was even less nice 60 years ago when they gave people insulin-induced comas and convulsions, malarial infections, lobotomies, and electric shock therapy as an attempt to cure conditions they didn't really understand. If you actually read up on the topic of mental illness, you realize that it has a very dirty history, where not even the experts had that much of a clue. PTSD wasn't even properly recognized as an illness until the 80s. And homosexuality used to be considered a sociopathic personality disturbance. A point being, perhaps there hasn't been that much of an incentive for people to be honest about their mental health throughout history. It's not like you take a look at the loony bin and go, oh hey, that's where I wanna be.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And this is where it gets tricky. On one hand, mental illness has become somewhat destigmatized. It still carries a stigma, but it's better than before, making people more comfortable to come out with their illness. And people who are working with mental illness are also gaining more knowledge on what it is and how it works as time passes, making it easier to diagnose. But on the other hand, corporations have realized that there is an untapped market here. There is a way to make a shitload of money off of sick people, so there is a tendency to overdiagnose just so you can sell people pills. You see the problem here, Paul? There's multiple factors at stake here. There's several explanations to why things are the way they are. But you just chose one of them and then magnified it by 1,000.
Social media has created a generation of young people suffering from narcissistic personality disorder. They try to one-up each other for depression brownie points, with endless blubber fests about their poor privileged lives. Meanwhile, people living in African mud huts literally give zero fucks. Logically, the depression epidemic makes no sense. By every single objective factor, it's never been a better time to be a human being living in the West.
Okay, so this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He's a psychology professor who basically put together a map of human nature. When the most basic needs have been fulfilled, you climb higher and higher upwards. In a really poor, shitty country, people can't afford self-actualization, comfort, and rewarding social relations. So they just settle for the bottom of the pyramid. But in a developed, civilized society, you can actually do more than just struggle to survive the day. So people not being happy just because they got clothes and food is human nature. It's not being spoiled. If there's anything we should have learned by now as a species, it's that material possessions do not equal happiness. They just aren't spiritually and emotionally fulfilling. And I use spiritually in a broad sense here, okay? I'm not talking about organized religion. I'm talking about purpose, the bigger questions of life, the human condition.
It's never been a better time to be a human being living in the West. Even amongst the poorest, our basic needs are met and exceeded.
If you're working 2 jobs just to put food on the table, how the fuck would you find time for self-actualization? Paul seems to think that self-actualization is available to anyone in a Western society. While it is true that we aren't as low on Maslow's hierarchy as poor African countries, we also aren't that high. Maslow himself argued that self-actualization rarely happens. He estimated that less than 1% of the adult population actually reach this stage. And the fact that most of us function on a level lower than that, he called the psychopathology of normality. Expressing one's creativity, quest for spiritual enlightenment, pursuit of knowledge, and the desire to positively transform society are examples of self-actualization. Working a job you hate just so you can pay taxes doesn't qualify as any of those.
I don't have all the answers, but you need to reach for those higher levels in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Because society and the culture that we're subjected to does everything in its power to distract you from achieving self-actualization. You're not going to achieve self-actualization by taking pills or having endless conversations with therapists, most of whom don't give a damn about you anyway. Reject this barbarous, vulgar culture that pretends to offer you everything, yet only ever leaves you empty and isolated.
I feel like you're trying to mindfuck me here, Paul. It kind of feels like you're trying to, take your uncircumcised British cock and just push it besides my eye globe and just cowabunga that shit. If you think that society keeps people from self-actualization, why would you become surprised that anyone is depressed? Why are you saying that depression is fake? If someone cannot attain their self-actualization, it's not weird that they would feel bad, like things are lacking in life.
Oh, but there shouldn't be a stigma around depression anymore. That's mean. Yes, there should. Just as there should be a stigma around smoking and obesity.
The only thing a stigma achieves is ignorance. Because when something is taboo, people don't talk about it. So all you're gonna get is healthy people being judgmental over something they couldn't possibly understand because they're healthy, they don't know what this illness is like, and B, mentally ill people putting off treatment, not seeking treatment, and denying symptoms because they don't want to face what it means. They're afraid of what their surroundings will think. They're afraid of losing their job, losing their friends. Worst case scenario, they commit suicide. Ultimately, this is only a cost, both for the individual and society as a whole. Also, men commit suicide at a higher rate than women. But instead of talking about this issue that the feminists refuse to bring up and filling that gap, you rather shit on those guys?
It's now a form of virtue signaling to constantly drone on about how depressed you are. You see it all over YouTube, these snivelling hug and confess videos made by privileged millennial brats who haven't had a proper day of hardship in their entire lives. They think they're being edgy, when in fact they're engaging in just another form of basic bitchery.
You're a basic bitch.
They think they're being edgy.
That's pretty ironic, coming from you in this video. You basically just described yourself and your entire shtick. You have this in-your-face manner of speaking, where you basically just go, hey fuckface, come over here and try to knock me out. Which is usually quite refreshing, it's liberating. But sometimes it can also make you sound like a rabid feminist. I usually like your message and argumentation, but you have this tendency to speak in overgeneralizing and oversimplified terms. Nuance doesn't hurt your message, dude. It actually empowers it. And I totally see why some people would mistake you for a Muslim-hating racist. I know you're not. I know you got Muslim friends, and I know you differentiate between radical Muslims and secular Muslims. But the way you talk sometimes is just way too oversimplifying. Sometimes you need to state the obvious, so that people don't carry any doubt around your message. And I know it might feel like this is beneath you, but all it really does is increase your potential outreach. It just makes it possible for more people to rally around your message. Anyway, it feels like I kinda got off track here.
Depression has become the new fat pride movement. Our culture is telling young people that depression is completely normal and should be embraced.
No, they're not. They're saying that people who are sick shouldn't be berated for their illness. Nobody's saying, hey, go grab a depression. They're saying that people who are sick need support to help them get better, so they can get rid of that depression. And I totally get your point about these spoiled millennial cunts devaluing the meaning of depression. I mean, they're acting as if they're depressed when they're really not, just to win social brownie points. I get that. But you're essentially doing the same thing. I mean, you're not virtue signaling, but you're also really devaluing the meaning of depression. Having said all this, I still really like it when you talk about other things than Muslims and immigration. One of my favorite videos of yours is the one about modern art, and I really loved the one about popular music. So I think that you should keep diversifying, because diversity is good. Yeah, diversity is good.